THZTV show. My name's Chris. This is my bro Abe.
How's she going?
And welcome to episode 40. Hey, episode 40. We're getting up there now.
Not bad.
Today's show, we're gonna try and answer a question that Mark Cuban had a couple weeks back on Twitter. But before we get into it, we're drinking some fine tea again. What is it again from the Red Whale?
It's organic chamomile blossoms.
Ooh.
And it's really good.
Oh, it's tasty.
Very calming.
Yes, so thank you, Red Whale. You guys can hook up, you can buy Red Whale coffee or tea online, or you can get it right in the store or wherever you want to get it. So it's redwhalecoffee.com. So thanks a lot, Sean.
Thank you.
And before we get into the question that Mark Cuban had, just want to recap the last show. Thank Tyler McKenna from NHL Digest for sharing his story about the Habs.
Yeah. I forgot to add one thing last week. I want to say, Tyler, you're a great guy, but I hate your team.
Go Habs.
Thanks for coming on.
Big win last night against the Caps too. So way to go, Habs. End that winning streak. So anyway, on to today's show. Mark Cuban, I follow him on Twitter, and if you guys don't know who Mark Cuban is, he threw a question out on Twitter before we get into who Mark Cuban is a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was January 25th, and he asked, "How is it the NHL only has 4 teams with losing records?" So I was like, "What are you talking about, Mark? You know, there's got to be more than that." So I checked, and actually, he was right at that day. There were only 4 teams with losing records. So anyway, Mark Cuban, if you don't know who he is or curious who he is, he back in '99 had a big company, IT tech company, sold to Yahoo, got a bunch of money, bought the Mavericks. Now he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He sits on the board for HDTV or HDNet or something, I think. So super.
Got his hands in a lot of places there. He's a smart fella.
Yeah, he's I guess you call him like a serial entrepreneur, but he actually makes a lot of money. Unlike some serial entrepreneurs like might be sitting in this room right now. Eh? But anyway, no, he's he's been on Dancing with the Stars.
He's had a couple of his own shows, I think. His own, like reality shows. I can't remember the names.
The Benefactor was one. I remember when that came out.
16 people about to walk through that door. There will only be one winner. The prize, $1 million. Well, you ready to have a little fun?
We even saw him, we saw a clip of him in the WWE wrestling getting smashed through a door.
Don't do it, Sheamus! Oh my God!
He's living the life. He's got looks like he's got a great life. So cheers to you, Mark. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and answer your question about why are there only 4 teams in the NHL with a losing record. So
there's a couple more now with that. That's what he has.
Yeah. So that was as of January 25th. Today we checked, and I think there's 6 or 7 we said that have losing records right now.
I think Edmonton's so far under. They might count for
they
two or
count
three
for 2 or
teams.
3. Yeah. So whereas compared to the NBA, there's 13 teams right now with losing records. So why is it the NHL has more losing records? So here you go, Mark. We're going to answer your question. I'll let you throw out the first or whatever. What do you think?
One of the main reasons is we were looking at the differences in the salary caps for both leagues have a salary cap. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I think one is called the soft salary cap, and hockey has the hard salary cap. I'm having a hard time talking, but anyway, so basically that I don't know. You looked into it a bit more than I did, but it has like. Hockey is firm on the number. They actually have rules against like even injuries. There's like emergency calls up and stuff, but it's even tricky to kind of get some players up sometimes. So it's really hard to work that. So
so that number is definitive for NHL, whereas the soft cap in the NBA. That's funny. I was looking into it, and they have all these clauses. Like they have the Larry Bird clause, and they have like a rookie scaling clause where it allows teams to sign certain players to go over their cap. The Larry Bird one, I think, is to try and keep teams or keep players in a city that maybe are popular players to keep the fan support up, right?
So you can give them a little bit extra cash or something.
Yeah, and take you over the cap, but you can only obviously have one guy under that. But so they have all these clauses.
Yeah, that brings on more of a parity, I guess, between the teams because there's less room to work around with all these clauses that you talk about and stuff. So I guess it brings more parity in the league, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we think. I know the NFL runs the same sort of cap, and that's a lot of parity in that league. So anyway, that's our, not that we're cap experts, but that's one reason we think there's less teams with losing records in NHL than the NBA. The other thing I think is obviously the overtime losses. If we didn't have overtime losses and didn't have ties like the NBA, you'd be looking at like first one that jumped out at me is Boston. I think had 11 overtime losses, and that if they subtracted those and put those in the loss column, they'd be a losing team, et cetera, et cetera. So
Boston,
that,
of course.
well, yeah, it's just the first one I saw. Anyway, sorry, but so I think the overtime losses make the records look
deceiving.
Deceiving, yeah. So I mean, but in the end, though, I still think that is better for the NHL from a business side, because what it does is it might give that false impression to some fans that their teams are actually better than what they really are, and they have a chance to make the playoff run. So hopefully, it puts more seats in the rink, or more people in the seats at the rink.
And more seats in the rink.
Yeah.
You could build a bigger rink.
So the overtime losses is probably a big thing there. Maybe I don't know if Mark saw that or whatever, or picked up on that, but that's obviously one reason why there would be less teams in the NHL with losses compared when you're comparing it to the NBA.
And like you said, it really brings it down to the playoff race too. It really tightens it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the NHL playoff race is crazy.
Yeah, the last few years.
The NBA, I think, has decided pretty much. Like it seems a couple weeks before, there's not much.
Yeah.
Probably because there's not teams getting extra points and all that stuff. So
yeah. So I think those are our answers, Mark, and those are why we think there were only 4 teams at that time that had losing records. But it brings up some great questions, actually, and the one question is, maybe we'll throw it out there, is should the NHL keep the overtime loss, as part of the scoring for each game or whatever. So we'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that, and I think you have another question as well.
Yeah, I got another question there. I just want to see what people feel about, I guess Mark Cuban's kind of a really outgoing, involved kind of guy in the NBA. He's right there at all the games. He's hyper.
Telling mothers off.
106-105. Josh Howard is trying to get at the officials.
He's an awesome guy. He's great to have for the game, I think.
No, we love you, Mark.
Just wondering if people out there think the NHL maybe needs a little more of that from their owners and their group, I guess, because there's not really much of that from the NHL, or if there is somebody that you can think of maybe that gets involved. I guess Brian Burke kind of likes to voice his opinion a lot and stuff, and so he's kind of entertaining once in a while. And
so do we need more Mark Cubans in the NHL?
To kind of spice it up a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. No,
and Mark, if you got any questions, just send them off to the Hockey Zen guys here, and we'll take care of that for you too.
So hopefully we answered your question, and I'm sure there'll be some comments here that I'll actually add to your question. So anyway, that's it for now. So thanks for watching, and keep your stick on the ice.
Take care, everybody.